as far as being a producer and an engineer, as far as playing music, I love to record. I love recording more than I do performing, because I love the fact that you can have an idea as an artist, and then you can hear something in your head before it's even recorded. And if you have the knowledge of how to record and how to make the sounds that you want to make, there's just a certain high that you get when you finally make a song and it just sounds exactly the way that you're hearing it in your head. And I think that for me, with this album, I love engineering stuff myself because I love to learn. So I love learning different microphone techniques and how to make my guitar sound a certain way and how to mic the amps up. And like with the album, I was experimenting a lot with just different sounds, especially working with a cassette recorder. The cassette recorder gives it a much more authentic sound, a much more lo-fi sound, because I didn't want the album to be... I didn't want the album to be too polished. And I think that was the thing with songs that I put out in the past. Like, Feels Like Heaven is a great song that I wrote, and I love that song. This Old Soul I like, and I love my EPs, but they didn't sound authentic enough to me. Like, I wanted to make an album that you can hear the little imperfections. You can hear the tape hiss and the little cracks and pops.
Little distortions?
Yeah, little distortions, because I think that that's what makes a song sound real. I want to make people feel like they're in the room with me, or they're listening to an old cassette recording. I want people to be able to listen to it on Spotify, but yet feel like, oh, I'm listening to it on Bluetooth, but it sounds like I'm listening to it on cassette. Because for me, when I listen back to it, it sounds like that. Like, I'll listen to it through headphones on my digital mixer, but it still sounds analog. It still sounds that kind of gritty sound. And I wanted to make something that was just colorful, just something that was just very trippy, and just something that, you know, if you're sober, it kind of makes you feel stoned, and if you're stoned and you listen to it, it'll take you somewhere else. Because I think that engineering and producing it's so important for trying to achieve whatever sound it is that you want. I think that when you work with a producer, they're going to try to tell you the way that they think it should be done. So if you work with a producer, they're going to tell you, well, what if you write the song this way, or what if you record, you know, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want someone telling me how they think it should be written, because even nowadays, like, if I love input. I do love when people tell me, oh, you know, I like this about your song, or yeah, I kind of... But at the same time, I just think to myself, I know how I want my music to sound. I know how I want the guitar to sound. And even if I listen to a song and I'm like, yeah, my guitar is kind of loud on this, louder than the drums, I don't really care. Because as long as it sounds the way that I want it to sound, then that's it. I'm still going to put it out, because... As I've said before, it's really disappointing when you record an album and then you listen back to it in a year and you're like, nah, I don't really connect with these songs anymore. Nah. And I just won't do that anymore. If I'm going to put something out, I have to put something out that I'm going to want to listen to. I finally made an album where I can't wait to listen to it on Spotify. I can't wait to drive around and listen to it, because I've been... a lab rat just sitting in a room with headphones on. I want to drive in my car and actually hear these songs. I
can't wait to hear it.
I can't wait to hear it too, because I've put so much energy into it, and I was really getting discouraged for a little bit, thinking I don't know if I'm going to finish this. And it just I'm very proud with it. I'm so happy. I can't wait for you to hear it. I can't wait for everybody to hear it, because it's just it really is. I really do feel like it's an amazing album. It's my, not trying to sound full of myself, it's my Dark Side of the Moon, though.
Sure,
it's my album that I think I did everything myself. The only person I got to help me out, I got my friend Jackson to play Hammond organ on a couple songs, 2 songs. But everything else I did. I engineered everything, I played all the instruments, and it took many, the flip side of engineering things and producing things yourself, because there's a plus side and a negative
absolutely.
side to everything. And I think one of the negative sides that I ran into was when you decide to engineer things, obviously, because I'm a perfectionist, so I will not rest until I get a take done that I'm satisfied with. So even though there's only 7 songs in the album, I did multiple takes of each song until I
reworking them. Yeah, you just feel like the vision matches the final product.
Absolutely. Like even the first song, Sunrise, I can't believe how many alternative takes I did of just that song. I mean, I did a recording of it in February of 2021. Then I, kept working on it. Then I think I did another version of it, redid the drums again, redid the guitars. Still wasn't happy with that version. Made a third version of it. I think I must have made like 5 versions of the same song until I finally found a version that I thought, okay, this is the one. This is it. Because when you can listen back to something and you're not like,
something's got to be tweaked.
Yeah, when you can listen back and you go, nope, that's it. Nothing.
Then you got to stop and say, this is it. Cut over, final take.
Because if you just keep overdoing it,
that's a wrap.
Yeah, my biggest problem over the years has just been overthinking, overanalyzing, listening to something. And, it's funny, when I showed my fiance one of the songs that, one of the final mixes that I did for the album, and I showed it to her, I said, check it out. First thing she said, she's like, don't change it. Don't change it, because she knows me. She knows that I'll be in love with an idea, and then the next day I'm like, yeah, but I think the guitar was a little too loud. I think I'm going to change it. And she was right. I mean, all it takes is that you have to say to yourself, no, like, this is it. Don't go in and change it, because if you go in and you change it, you might take away something that...
And then that gets you on a different road, and then it's like the whole thing, and then it's almost like things get recreated in a way maybe that you
just gotta at
sometimes at some point you have to say this
is it, and you just have to
put it out there.
And I think I definitely love being an engineer. I love recording, and even at those times where it's a lot, and I mean there was points making the album where I would get so angry, you do one drum take after another, and then you'll be a minute and a half into it. Because doing it analog, you can't go back and redo anything. Right. If you record something analog, that's it. I mean, if you work on a computer, like on a program like Pro Tools, you could go in and edit something.
Change it.
Yeah, but with the cassette recorder, I knew I wanted to create the illusion that you're listening to a band, even though you're not. You're listening to me. But I wanted the songs to feel like they create an illusion where, like, I feel like when you listen to these songs, you're going to think you're listening to a band, but you're listening to me multi-tracking everything. And I think just, like I said, it gives the songs a much more raw, authentic sound. And I think that it will allow the listener to really feel
the same thing.
My soul.
Cool.
To feel it.
Cool. Are there any producers out there that you've kind of that have inspired you, or you kind of say, all right, I like their style, I like what they've done, this is how I want to do it?
Rick Rubin. That's he's worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Eminem, Johnny Cash, I think Neil Young, everybody. He has worked with everybody in the industry, from like hip hop to rock, everything. He is the man to listen to as an engineer, as a producer, as a musician. He is, if I were to recommend one person to any musician, any artist, I'd say listen to Rick Rubin. He was the guy that I was listening to that inspired me.
Awesome.
I listened to an interview with him recently, and he said exactly what I said most of the interview, which is, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. The most important person is you. You, the artist, have to think, what do you want to achieve, and you have to be the listener. And
at the end of the day, it's your project. That's your baby.
Yeah, it's your baby, and he is the guy that I would say, out of all the producers, I think Rick Rubin is a genius, and I love Rick Rubin. I think he in the same way that Ram Dass has influenced me on life, I think Rick Rubin has influenced me as a producer, because I never thought of myself as a producer until I started working on this album. Then I thought, well, I don't have a producer. I don't have anybody helping me, so I'm a producer, I guess, too. I guess that's another role that I get to be under. So, yeah, definitely very inspirational, man. Very inspirational.
Doing it all.
Yes.
Love it. And, yeah, like I said, I can't wait to hear it and see how this has all come together. And now this interview, like really having some background into the whole thing. Like I am really excited for it.